What are you doing?
I'm preparing. I'm meeting the Nostalgia Critic, and I know he's gonna try to pick apart everything I say and do, and he's gonna try and destroy my show. You know how much of a jerk he can be.
Don't worry. I'm sure he'll give a great interview with somebody else.
Ladies, gentlemen, greetings, and welcome to the Kinetoscope Parlour, where we meet strange and wonderful people. I'm your host, Baron Celsius von Fahrenheit. And if you have any interest in online movie reviews, you've heard of the Nostalgia Critic. Today, I'm meeting the man behind the character, Doug Walker. Welcome to the Kinetoscope Parlour.
Hey, thank you so much, man.
First of all, first thing I want to address, if I understand correctly, the critic is not just you in a hat and tie. He's actually a character. You don't actually think everything he says.
No, it's sort of like a very exaggerated, mean-spirited version of me. Like a lot of stuff I say about the movies, I do believe, but I don't usually get that angry. I know they're just movies, and movies can be an art, great art. But I mean, usually the anger I have is toned down by 80%, something like that.
And the character, did you intend him to be as he is now when you first created him, or did he just evolve into that?
He started off much even meaner to start off, and I sort of wanted him to be kind of a loser and, somebody that was just got angry at stuff that didn't really matter. But then I noticed a lot of people were like, yeah, I want to be like him, and I was like, no, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to think this guy's a jerk and a schmuck. So over time, I sort of opened him up a little bit, and I sort of like the idea of making him as well as the material a little smarter, like actually talking about stuff that is good and why something doesn't work as opposed to just making a meme or a joke about it. He definitely changed over time, but I think he's gotten a little smarter. I think the material's gotten a little smarter because of that too.
And why did you choose movie reviews for your show? Was that the first thing you wanted to do?
Yeah, I just love movies. I loved it ever since I was a little kid, and I've just always been super into them. I've just always been a movie geek, and I just absolutely love talking about it.
When you started doing silly videos on the internet, if someone had come from the future and told you that in a couple of years you'd be doing that for a living and going all around the world meeting all kind of people because of that, what would you have told them?
You're a really bad liar. But no, it's something where with all the stuff that's happened, you kind of think in the back of your head, okay, it's very unlikely this will happen, but wouldn't it be cool if this happened? So that's one of the reasons you try it. And the fact that it has, and it's allowed me to make this my full-time living and travel around and make people happy, and so it's truly the greatest thing in the world. I mean, it's just phenomenal to be allowed to do this and act silly and stupid and just be totally insane, but have people say, wow, you helped me get through stuff, you got me out of deep depressions or through hard times, and it's just the greatest feeling. There's really no words for it.
When you were first able to sustain yourself with the Nostalgia Critic and the other shows, you quit your job in kind of a colorful manner. I would like to know how that felt, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious about that.
Well, you're talking about the video where I open up my shirt and it says I quit, I'm guessing. That actually happened before I did the Nostalgia Critic. I was actually finishing up college. But that does have a tie-in, though, because I remember saying that this was the last time I was going to do something really crazy, really insane, unless I get paid for it. Because I said, I have to be a professional. I don't want to be just someone that just goes online and never gets a job and says, I want to dedicate myself to something. So for a while, I was an illustrator. I was a freelance illustrator. It was going okay, but then I started doing the videos kind of as a hobby because the quitting video got a lot of people looking at me. So again, I'm thinking maybe there's some sort of business opportunity. I don't know, because I have a lot of people looking at me. So I started doing 5-second movies and Nostalgia Critic on YouTube, and more and more people just kept coming. But I didn't know how to do a business plan. So that's when I met a guy named Mike Machad. He put a business plan together, the website, and brought in the other reviewers covers and everything. And yeah, it did sort of, strangely enough, just start with me acting like a jackass, ripping my shirt off at my old job. And I was just doing that because this guy I worked with was constantly trying to get me fired, because he got the last 3 guys fired, so nobody believed him. So I'm like, okay, this is for you, buddy. And he was in that room, and I had to point at him at one point, so it was nice.
Producing videos just for fun is a passion I understand only too well. But when it gets to the point where you have to make videos to eat and pay the bills, does it change how you see it?
For me, not that much. I will say it's definitely something where when you're getting paid for it, there is this standard that's added on top of it. Like, hey, I can't just half-ass this because now people are actually employing me to do this, giving me money to do this. So I'm like, oh, this will just be a blow-off video. I'll barely try it, whatever. Is not a good mentality now, because not only you're laying down the people that employ you, but you're also laying down the people watching you and supporting you. So I try not to, and there was a period of time where I was doing too many trips and too many cons, and that's when the Bart's Nightmare one came out, which is like one of the most hated videos, and that was one where I'm like, okay, I'll put out something just so people can have a Nostalgia Critic that week and everything, and I found out, you know, if I can't devote the time and effort to it, don't do it, you know, because that one was so hated.
When people ask you what you do for a living and you answer, I complain about movies on the internet, how do they react? Does it make them sad about your life? Does it make them sad about their lives?
It's usually followed by, and how is your parents' basement? But it's always hard to say because it is the first thing that comes in my head. It's like, oh, so you don't actually have a job and you're living with your folks and stuff. And so I usually say I'm an online producer and it surprisingly pays the bills is what I usually follow it with, because I want them to know, like, I know that sounds strange and it's not quite what you think it is. Thankfully, I haven't had people say, oh, so you're in porn. But yeah, for the most part, it's like I get 1 or 2 like people just sort of nodding, okay, but it's at the same time, it's like I think people know the world is changing, technology is changing, media is changing, so it's not quite as crazy sounding as it once was.
You've done a lot of things, wonderful things on the show. You produced movies with very large cast. Some of the people from the movies and the series you interviewed were actually on the show with you. What's the thing that you've done that you're the most proud of?
The thing I'm the most proud of, you know, there was, aside from making people feel better, I mean, that's the #1 reward, it really is. But I find that's usually not very satisfying answer. People are like, oh, come on, say a celebrity name. So I say, when I did the Siskel and Ebert tribute, Roger Ebert actually posted a tweet saying it was the best tribute to Siskel and Ebert he's ever seen in his life, and I was so blown away by that I actually framed the tweet. I might be the only person who framed the tweet, but it really meant a lot to me, and it still really does. I still have it hanging up in my office.
And if you had the opportunity to do anything on your shows, no matter how crazy or insane, what would you do?
If I could do anything I wanted, I kind of just do it. You know, I don't really hold back that much. That's part of what got people looking at me to begin with, so I can't think of anything. All the crazy stuff, I kind of just do.
And is there a question you never get asked, but you really wish somebody would ask you?
A question I wish somebody would ask me? Man, that's an interesting question. You know what? That question, because I never heard before, and somebody should ask, what question do you want to be asked? Because that's just polite. That's very Canadian. So I'll say that question.
So it's now time for your big question.
Okay.
So I'd like to know, who would you be if you were a character from the TV show Doug?
Well, not Doug. I'll say that. You know, the dog. Because I like the way he was drawn, and he always seemed happy, and he didn't have to talk to anybody. So I like that.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks so much.
That's all for today. I'm Baron Celsius von Fahrenheit, telling you to stay weird, and I shall see you again at the Kinetoscope Parlour. Hi everyone, Alex here. The first thing I want to do today is say welcome to all the Nostalgia Critic fans who stumbled on this interview. I hope you liked it, and I invite you to have a look at the other ones. I've already done a couple more with other web producers, and more are coming. And I've done interviews with a lot of different weird people, some of which will explain why I'm dressed like that in the episode. I also want to give a big thank you to the people of GAnime.
they really help, first of all, by giving us press passes, which really sped things up when at the convention. It really made things much simpler for us. And also for setting up things with Doug, and doing it twice because we learned at some point that his plane was 3 hours earlier than we thought, and we had to reschedule everything. Let's just say I had a very tense 30 minutes prior to filming this episode. I was having breakfast in the hotel when I got a text saying that it was in 30 minutes or it was nothing. So I had to run to the room to get all the costumes and all the equipment, and then set up right next to the autograph table where Doug was, and we filmed right then and there. That's why it's so noisy. Once again, the noise reduction software helped, but it's still a bit noisy because of the place we were. Doing an interview with Doug was something really special for me because I'm a really big fan, not just of his, but of web productions in general. I don't even have regular TV anymore. I only watch stuff on the web, or almost. And the very first thing I started watching was the Nostalgia Critic years ago. So the show definitely would not be there if it wasn't for Doug, because I never would have discovered this world. So it was a pretty big thing for me, and Doug was such a lot of fun. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you next time.